on Echo Link. And, of course, someone mentioned Gary, but I don't think he's checked in yet. Maybe he has. Gary, if you're there, good evening to you, too. Well, talk about the weather. Hot. We were 80 degrees today. I mean, this is unheard of, for Pete's sake. We take a walk every morning. We don't go very far, but we go out and take a walk. And this morning, the wind was coming very briskly right out of the east. We had an easterly, so it's an offshore flow. And when that happens, we get that hot eastern Washington air that comes over here, and it just contaminates everything. Anyway, we normally have the prevailing wind, the westerlies, they come down the strait. And it's generally pretty pleasant here, but uncomfortably warm today, and I would call it almost muggy this afternoon. Frankly, I couldn't do a darn thing. Let's see. Oh, dear, what else? Not much this time around. I do not have a stream yet here. I noticed Bob said it wasn't working for him either. It seems like it's been getting later and later by the time it clicks on. And I keep refreshing here, thinking I'm going to get it, but it hasn't happened just yet. It always pops up with the live thing on it, and then I know I've got it. Oh, no, I've got it now. Here it is. Just got the live thing. Okay, I see myself there. Okay. All right, that's it from here. Back to Dave. This is N7KC. We're in Port Angeles. Go ahead, Dave.
87 QKU and hosting N7KC. Lee, yes, the streaming just came up here at Lake City, too. I don't know why it seems to come on about 10 minutes after the hour now. Let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, good evening, Dave, Bob, Juan, Lee, Jim. Did I miss anyone? Seems like there's someone else. Someone was mentioning Gary. He was actually here as an in and out on the last net on Saturday evening. He was busy doing something, but he picked up the 2-meter and said hi to us, although he didn't transmit any pictures. So he's still around. He's just busy. I don't know. Life should be simpler as you get older, but it doesn't seem to work that way. Don't quite understand that. Well, everyone's saying it's warm. Yeah, it's warm over here, too. I'm showing 79 degrees outside right now over here at the house in Covington, and I'll bet it's a little on the warm side in Port Angeles there, Lee, probably unseasonably so. I'm not sure, but I think we may have had a slightly cooler than average summer. Is that true? Maybe someone has better statistics than I, but it's been pretty pleasant so far, seems to me. Certainly could be a little on the more wintry side today, but otherwise it's been pretty nice from my end here on the south side of the city. Yeah, the days are definitely getting shorter. Whoever said that. It's dark here at the house already, and it's mostly clear out there, but oh well. At least it's not the rainy season yet. I shouldn't say that. I should bite my tongue. But for now, back to you, Dave. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
N7QO, you got a nice P3 picture, definition on your face, black and white picture, and your IQ number came up looking pretty good. So anyway, let's move on to James, WU7N.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dave. Greetings to all tonight. Well, let's see. Last week was a week of sad news of death of a friend and funerals too. So this week is going much better. So anyway, let's see. Tonight I'm trying a little different lighting scheme. I think I'm still a little bleached out as I look at my 1.2 gig signal. But I'll go ahead and try. Maybe the extra light will help, because I'm going to show a few inventions that are just darn clever, I thought. This it has a little back, a little collapsible back. And what the idea is this comes from a friend of mine, CMIT Solutions, and that's the whole idea, is to have something on your desk that has a company name and phone number on it. But what's interesting about this rubbery stuff is it sits at an angle, and then you set your smartphone on it on your desk. So your desk or your smartphone sits on your desk at an optimal angle, but of course to make sure you have it on your desk at all times, it also is filled up with Post-it notes, which wash out a little bit, but Post-it notes up here and Post-it notes below. So I think that's just a very clever way to get your company name on something. I thought that was kind of a good idea. I hope whoever invented that got full credit and profited from it. So anyway, let's see. I too have noticed that the days are getting shorter, and it's the last chance, I think, here for the next few weeks to get all that outdoor stuff done that we've all been putting off for the last 2 months. I've said to everybody I wasn't going to clean out my garage until the weather got good so I could move everything out into the driveway. Well, I guess I'm down to the last few days, last few weeks where you can do that. So I'll have to do that so I can get something other than just stacks of junk in my garage. So anyway, good evening to all. Tonight, glad you could join the net. Let me turn it back to Net Control Dave. And there's a identifier, and back to you, Dave.
Thanks for that, James. WW7ATS. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's see. It's a little bit on the warm side in the shack on the second floor of my house. And the thermometer is saying 85 on one and 83 on the other thermometer in the shack. And the outside thermometer is reading 76 degrees. So anyway, it's a little cooler outside than it is inside, and sunset at 8 o'clock, so things are moving along. Here in Lake City today, I watered a few plants around the house. It was looking around the house, I should say. It was in the yard. It was looking a little bit dry. Some leaves were turning a little bit to the yellow side on my roadies, so got those soaked down. Went off my weekly excursion to Costco and got some grub today. And one of the things I ran into there, I don't know if anybody has an iPhone or an iTablet or an anything. They've got their card on sale, a $100 card for $78. So about 20% off. So if you're looking for wanting to get into some apps or get some screening video or something to purchase it at a pretty good price through Costco, running through the first, besides that, 1st of September it goes back up to their $89 price for $100 worth of cards, or $25 cards. Anyway, that's what I've got to say, and it is dark here in beautiful Lake City, so I'm going to move it back up to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. And good to hear from everybody. And James, I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your friend. That's tough. And I'm glad this week is going better for you. I wasn't here last Saturday, so I did miss Gary. And I think it's just been timing. I had kind of a long stretch when I wasn't here, so I'm trying to get back into my usual swing of things and be here regularly, but I did miss last Saturday. And I've got my game coming up a week from Friday is our first session, and I'm getting a little bit, not quite panicking yet, but I I don't have enough time to prepare already. And so I'll get there. And the one good thing is this game system's new to all of us, so we'll all be sort of learning together a little bit, but I need to be the one that knows it best and there for a resource for everybody, and for those people that like to sort of push it a little bit to keep them in line and make sure they're following the rules too. But we don't have actually problems with that. But you know, there are those that they don't actually like break the rules, but they bend them pretty hard. So I just want to make sure that I'm sort of on top of it and have quick answers and ready answers for them and can keep things moving. And work is going pretty well. It's a lot of sort of documentation right now. There's a lot of documentation. I would say, well, in the old days I would have said paperwork, but it's all online. In fact, I thought of that, James, when you talked about Post-it notes. I can't remember the last time I used a Post-it note, and I used to all the time. But I got so into being paperless. Let me break. It started when I was working part-time from home and part-time in the office, and I didn't want to haul papers back and forth with me, work papers. And then once I started doing that in my personal life as well. I still have, sort of yellow legal pads and make notes, especially if I'm making like a to-do list for the day, or just other notes or drawings or things. But I do a lot on Google Keep for my online notes, and it's very handy. And the calendar, oh my goodness! And I can't remember if it was on this net, but somebody I was talking to, they still like using the paper calendar. But I tell you, having a calendar that has built-in reminders has changed my life for the better. Okay, with that, I'll send it back to that K9PQ.
K9PQ, 20 minutes past the hour. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, 87CYN. Let's put out a call for K7HYP. Gary, are you on the air this evening? Apparently Gary is not out there with us yet this evening, but let's go to KD7QKU. Ron.
KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU. Well, I guess I'm about as hot as everybody else. I got 77 degrees outside, and I got 83 degrees in here. I did bring the fan and put it in the doorway behind me, so there's a little fan blowing on it. Boy, I'm glad I did that. I can tell you that. So I've been going I should be walking, more. I used to, suggested 3 times a day, but it's just been too hot. So I walked this morning, I guess probably about 9:30 I went for a walk. I just walk about 10 minutes, just enough to kind of limber up. And I guess all I have to talk about is my hip replacement. I'm able to sleep on my left side now, and that's where the incision was. So like I say, the hip part is doing really well. Just my knee. My knee is, I don't know if it got a little bit hyperextended when they worked on it or what happened to it, but that's what I feel like happened to it. The tendons have been stretched a little bit in there or something. They're sore. I guess someday I'll get over it. So anyway, I haven't been out too much. We went out to dinner the other night. We did go over to my brother-in-law, and we're thinking about going out to our son and daughter-in-law, out on the Kitsap Peninsula. He's a guy with the 15 acres and a new house. So he's got his, house is really coming along good. Cabinets are in, countertops are in, floors are down. He's got the faucet in the sink, and then he poured a bunch of cement outside for sidewalks and entrance and stuff. And then decking. He has 3 decks to deck. And I think he's got the material ordered. Today he was going to, the apron where you leave the pavement and head towards his gate, he has to have that put in a new culvert and has to have that paved or cement. I guess he's going to put it in cement rather than pave it. And I don't know how big it has to be. But there has to be an apron there where the driveway enters to the street. He was going to have somebody pave it, but he said they wanted more than cement, and they were like far away, and scheduling them was terrible. So his neighbor does cement, and so talked to his neighbor, and he said sure he'd help him do it. So they'll just form it up and pour it. I don't know how big it is. Today he was going to take his tractor, he's got a bucket on the front, he was going to dig it down about, he said a foot, but I think the cement has to be 6 inches deep. So I don't know what he's doing for sure. So over to Mr. Lee, M7KC.
Okay. I think I'm on. Okay, M7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, there's a house up here on our street that just got a new driveway, a concrete driveway put in. And the old one was just like ours. It's the kind of concrete that had the two-by-fours, that between the sections. And our two-by-fours was put in 83, so they've rotted away, and now there's dirt, and you get the daggone weeds growing up in them, and it's a constant battle to deal with it. So anyway, this guy got a beautiful driveway. They came in with a tractor, and they dug it down pretty good, and then they came in with that relatively fine gray gravel, and they put it down, and then they got one of those gas-fired stomper things, that bangs up and down, compactor, and they just beat that until it was a really, really good substrate. And then they put a nice grid of rebar down, and they poured it. They poured it Monday, day before yesterday. And big pieces of concrete always break. So Paula's her nephew in Bellingham does concrete. He's a contractor. And he says concrete always breaks, so what you want to do is to put in Z-strips. You want it to break where you want it to break. So you guarantee that by putting in Z-strips. And so they fixed this driveway up real nice up there with the points where if it wants to break, it can. And then it's in smaller blocks, and they're much, much stronger than that big floor. It's a really nice-looking driveway. And I asked the guy, I saw him out there before they poured it, and I said, I would like to do that too. How much do you think you've got into that? What's it going to end up? He didn't know exactly, but he thought it was around $7,000. Ouch. I guess we can put up with our driveway a lot longer. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm already past 2 minutes? Shoot. I got more to say. Let me see if I can reset this thing. Stand by. Okay. I guess I'm back and it seems to be working. I wanted to say to Bob that I couldn't live without the Google Calendar. Honest to goodness, the notifications are what basically makes me get things done. And I use it all the time. And, of course, it syncs up with the phone and everything and the tablet, so it's just excellent. And I use sticky notes, the ones that just come with Windows. And I've got them stuck all over my screen here. And I kind of like those. And, I've got that WSJT, that weak signal Joe Taylor -X suite on the computer here beside the radio, and I have my radio connected to the computer through a signal link, and I've got the regular USB, whatever, the cables for it and all that. Works good. But anyway, it turns out that signal link is just like the wonderful sound card outside the machine, outside the computer, and I can use it with Audacity to record anything on the radio. It's just outrageously nice. Works really, really good. And then Chandler used to use a USB sound card called it was a Behringer, and I have one of those, and I've got it plugged in one of the USB ports, and so I can use headphones on the computer and all that stuff. And so I've got a lot of ways to get in and out of the computer. Very nice. And I think that's all I've got to say. So this is N7KC. Lee in Port Angeles. Send it back to you, Dave. Go ahead.
N7KC, I've got that. Thanks for joining the net and bringing that information to us. And this is the Western Washington Animal Television Society net. I'm Dave, 87BYM. We'll be going up to Jim in 720, but I'll take a quick break in case anybody else wants to sign in to the net. Hearing none, the airways are open to Jim in 720.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Concrete or something like that. Lee or anyone else out there, if you have any ideas, I might want just a concrete pad, maybe 10 feet by 10 feet or 12 feet by 12 feet, something in that order. Would it be better to put that in multiple sections or all in one piece? Would it be better for durability to use concrete or something else? I need it to support the weight of a car, basically. Just some thoughts on that. If anyone has any input on there, I would appreciate that. Oh, Ron, your knee. Oh, man. Sometimes I wonder, I've heard other people say things, and I know that when I was in a hospital one time, I'm not sure if they dropped me or what, but I had this bruise, and it's like, gee, where'd that come from? Oh, we don't know. You never know what they might do to you while you're under the influence of anesthesia. Very possible that your knee was inadvertently tweaked a little bit. Seems to me that the hip operation was long enough ago that your knee should have started feeling better by now, but I'll keep my fingers crossed for you on that. Sound cards. Well, I think my time is up here. Let me reset. Well, I bought a rig blaster to interface with my my HF rig. Actually, the intent was to put my HF rig on a line through a computer so that while I'm away from home, I could use my radio. And I would also be able to communicate on 2 meters. The rig that I have here happens to have 160 through 2 meters. But I never did quite get around to accomplishing that. I had one computer bite the dust, and so the computer, which was going to be my spare, wound up not really being a spare, but going into active service. Yeah, that's really nice to be able to use stuff like that. I didn't know that that one particular board could be used as a an audio recorder. That's kind of a neat feature. But then I suppose hooking it up to the computer might be able to record some sort of digital audio somehow with that. I guess all it would take is some software, but as long as you have the interface. So I was hoping the Rig Blaster would do the trick. But back to Lake City Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, KD7QYM. Well, let's move over to James, WU7N.
Okay, well, thank you, Dave. And let me just start off by saying to Bob, I find it just sad that you can't find a use for sticky notes anymore, that there's some kind of antiquated thing. I think, there's just so many, uses for them. I just can't even imagine what my life would be without them. The story of sticky notes, is that I think 3M was trying to develop a paper that had glue automatically on them. The glue failed and didn't set, but it would stick to things. And then someone said, this is kind of handy to stick these around the office cube or something. So, Dave, or Bob rather, I don't know what to say. I still use sticky notes for a lot of purposes. I just also wanted to say, Ron, last time I complained to a physical therapist, they said, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. That's what they said. So I'll pass that along to you. Maybe that advice will work well. The world's record for concrete driveway replacements, I think, must be held on my street right now. House has been sold, and the real problem has since been fixed. They rewired our street. They just left the old wires in the ground. But there was something that kept burning out right under this poor woman's driveway. And every time they had to dig it up, and then they had to, fix the problem under the street. Town Energy did this work, and then they'd have to replace the driveway. And that driveway, maybe this will be of some help to Jim, it was an aggregate gravel driveway, so there aren't any of those separators that Lee was talking about. So anyway, that's it for me this time around. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to show folks. Let me show you another handy invention. Tonight's theme was handy inventions. This is called a Yeti mug, Y-E-T-I. And it's a stainless steel mug, but with the cool invention part of it, in addition to being a kind of a cool mug, is that it has a little rubber seal around it, and then it has a little flip top right here, which I think you can probably see. And the combination of this is it's quite a tight seal, and I'm thinking somebody was a mechanical engineer that built this, because it really is just an incredibly hardy mug. It's Y-E-T-I with that little mountain symbol on it, and it really is quite spill-proof. So anyway, that's it for me this time around. Let me turn it back to net control. This is WU7N Whiskey Uniform 7 November, and turning it back to, if I can get this to work, for some reason it's not working.
I'm out.
Yeah, this is KD7QYM, the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net, and I'm coming to you from the Lake City second story sauna, I might say, for my residence this evening. It is increased. It's up to 86 degrees. I don't know whether the warmth is coming. It wasn't all that warm outside today. I mean, we didn't hit the 90s, but it certainly heated up the second story of the house. I guess I should say I must not have a lot of insulation going for me upstairs. So anyway, it's been great hearing everybody on the net this evening and seeing what's happening in the world. But I really haven't anything else to add at this point. So I'm going to send it back to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, thanks, Dave. And I Ron, I feel for you with the physical therapy. When I had my elbow operated on, it all went very, very smoothly. And my physical therapist was outstanding. He was really, really good and got me back to as close as you're going to get to full range without it being quite full range, but not so. I mean, I never noticed it. And the only reason I would even think about it is if I was examining it closely and deciding maybe it could be just a hair straighter. But yeah, as far as the knee goes, I'm wondering if maybe, I mean, I know nothing about what a hip replacement entails, but, you know, you've got to have some ligaments going between the hip and the knee, I assume, or, you know, with those muscles, and, you know, I can imagine that, you know, quite a bit got sort of stretched or jostled or what have you in the process. Yeah, so I feel for you there, and the other thing is, I'm sure as we all know, the older we get, the longer it takes to recover. So I think you're right. I think it'll get better. It will just take a little bit longer, I guess. Yeah, sticky notes. Well, you know, I still have them around here, and if I have a particular use for it, I will use it. But I guess it's just a change of habit. You know, I didn't make a point necessarily of going paperless, but I did it for work, and once it started, and I had sort of some things set up to be able to keep notes and other things without paper, it just snowballed, and I rarely use paper anymore, home or at work. And work especially. I mean, boy, at work they've actually gotten to the point where we don't have assigned desks or cubes or anything like that. They like to make it sound really cool by calling it cafe seating, but it really means is, you know, find a spot if you can, and don't expect to have the same spot every day. And so I do have a little two-drawer roll-about cabinet, and since I go in early, I get the same spot every day, and generally people sort of gravitate to sitting in the same spots every day, but there are always a few that you feel like you're playing musical chairs, and it's...
This is KD7ZYM. I think the gator got you, Bob. Go ahead again.
Oh, no. Do you remember where it cut me off?
It was just before you switched over to bars, so it must have been about the last 3 or 4 words.
Oh, man. I don't even remember what I was talking about. I think it was just something along the lines of that was it for me, and back to you. So there we go. Back to you, Dave. K9PQ.
Oh, there must be an echo in the room. Bob, let's go on to KD7QKU. Ron.
KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU. Well, thank you. Yeah, Bob, you were talking about, you know, not having a fixed desk, and that you had a little file cabinet and stuff. So, but anyway, I think we got all of it. Well, let's see. I've been following this lady, this 76-year-old lady that's sailed around the world. She's sitting out there in the Pacific. She's about 400 miles out from the Strait of Juan de Fuca, Tatoosh Island, and there's not much wind, so she's just kind of been drifting around out there for a day or so. And she's afraid the wind is going to be coming out of the east, and then she's going to have a hard time getting into the straight. She said if the wind would cooperate, she should be in and headed towards Victoria in 4 or 5 days. But she only made, I think, 26 miles yesterday. So sometimes she heads north, sometimes she heads east. She just doesn't want to go south. She doesn't want to lose any more ground. So she's trying to get in. So it's been interesting following her blog. I only been following it for a week or so. And it's mostly about weather reports and her sailing and things breaking, and she has to do some. And she cooks food. She talks about making food. She made a kind of a bean soup, a hearty bean soup the other day. So she's been enjoying that. So, and I guess I don't have it anymore. Let's send it over to the M7KC.
Okay. So things are working in 7KC in Port Angeles. Well, yeah, Jean Socrates, I have her blog, and I go over and check it out every day. She's got a LOM license. She's been talking to people on 40 meters, someplace around 7155 to 7160. So I get those frequencies, and I check around there, and I listen, because she's close enough now not to be able to hear it pretty easy. But she doesn't say exactly what time of night she does. She does it in the evening, but she doesn't say what time of evening, at least as far as I can figure out she's doing it. Let's see, Jim. The very best, I think, audio program you can put on your computer is called Audacity. And it's a free download, and it's extremely powerful. Wonderful thing. They've made a lot of nice improvements over the years, and that's what I have on mine. And with that, you can you can send it any place you want, and you can direct the input to any one of your devices, whether it's USB or microphones or whatever you've got. So it's very, very nice, and the price is just right. And you know, when I started doing this weak signal suite of Joe Taylor's, my computer was off a couple of seconds. Well, that's very serious if you're trying to decode weak signals according to the protocol that they use. And Microsoft has a time server, and periodically your computer is supposed to go over and reset its clock relative to the time server. But I could not show. When I would tell it to do it right now, it didn't do it. So Joe Taylor and company suggested an NTP, a network time protocol server called Mindberg, M-E-I-N-B-E-R-G. So I went in and hauled a copy of that, which is free, and managed to get it on the computer, and boy, now I'm down to with a few milliseconds for the correct time all the time, and it's made a world of difference on decoding the digital signals around the world. So I'm using Whisper with the Whisper Net database, where I can transmit, and they'll go check the database and see where in the world I've been, on what power, and on the band, and all that, and what the signal strength is at the receiving station. Really nice. And I've been doing some of that FT8, and so forth. So anyway, okay, I'm out of time. M7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Back to that.
M7KC, we've got Massachusetts Webster and Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. And Dave, KD7CYM. Well, next up on the list is Jim, N7QO.
Thank you, Dave. N7QO. Well, thank you for that, Lee. Yeah, I've been wondering, it seems like I shouldn't really say, but it does seem like some of the Microsoft products have their own sort of sense of being, if you will. But Mindberg, interesting where they come up with some of these names. And Audacity, wow. Yeah, thanks for that. Jim, Yeti mug. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I know Yeti manufactures ice chests and that sort of thing. I've seen those on the market, but I've never really noticed if they have a mug. But the one which you held up there certainly looks pretty robust, and that would be useful in a number of circumstances. I know I've been in vehicles and the supposedly sealed mug decided to disappear when going around a corner or braking a little faster than expected or something, and that one looks really, really robust. The telephone mount, that looks like it combines the best of the old world and the new world. I'm probably more leaning toward the old world. I certainly still use Post-it notes. Having said that, I don't have a single one out here in the shack, but I certainly have a number of pads in the house. And the new world, well, I guess if it holds your smartphone, I'd call that new world. So you get a message off your smartphone and put it on a Post-it note and maybe stick it on your computer's CRT or something. Or I guess now they're probably plasma displays or LED displays, whatever. All of mine around here are CRTs. Well, that's not true either. There's one that's not. But reset. So thanks for showing us that. And also you mentioned aggregate gravel. I actually think that's what I have here at the house. It's not concrete, but it seems to have all these like pebbles in it. It's almost like maybe like an asphalt sort of surface, but it's not oily or anything. But it's darker than I would expect concrete. But it has a bunch of pebbles. It's certainly a rough surface. It's not one which needed to be roughed up like concrete. So that's probably similar to what I have. Don't know how thick it would need to be in order to support the weight of a car, but I could certainly find out. I will inquire about that when I get a chance. Gene Socrates, my goodness. Homemade bean soup. I should get on 40 meters, invite her to the house, and tell her if she brings her bean soup, I will furnish all the crackers she can eat. If she shares with, I'll have to share it with my wife too. But anyway, so thanks for the update on that, Ron. I am curious about that. It's another one of those things that I keep meaning to check on, but never quite managed to find the time. Once again, life's busy for all of us. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYN. Anybody else like to join us on the net this evening? Hearing none, let's go to James, WW7ATS.
Okay, thank you very much. Looks like we're getting to the top of the hour here. This might be old stuff here, but I just wanted to show somebody something. I was doing some experiments with infrared, and this is just an ordinary remote control, but here's what's interesting. On this particular camera, if you push the infrared, see, that does show up, doesn't it? Okay, so if you look carefully, maybe I'll get a little closer here. Okay, there you go. You can see the actual infrared diode, because on this Dell Latitude computer, there is no infrared filter. I tried the same experiment with my iPhone 5S and couldn't see it. So that's my third interesting invention of the evening, or maybe inventive discovery. So testing remote controls and infrared communication, and I guess your older cameras tend to see them, your newer cameras don't. So this is James, WW7N with Uniform 7 November. Thank you all. Enjoyed the net tonight. Always enjoy hearing from you guys. So back to you, Dave.
WU7N, I hear you there. I got out my remote control and I was firing it away into the camera, and it does have a tendency to light up and show some things that are happening. So that was kind of interesting. Oh my. I managed to turn the television set on while I was playing with that remote, and I turned that one off. Sorry for the delay there. But anyway, oh man, I just wish it had cooled down up here. It's getting kind of warm, I might say. Oh, let's see. Everything else seems to be going good. I got off to the bank today and had to move some funds around. The stock market's been kind of crazy the last couple of weeks. So it's kind of like a yo-yo. It goes up and down. I don't know, it's probably lost about close to about 10% in this last month, although the gains for the total year was about 25%, so still a little bit on the profit side for the stock market so far this year. Let's see what happens with this trade stuff that's going on. Well, let's go up to Bob, T9PQ.
Okay, I made sure to let it drop that this time. Maybe I just spoke too long last time, but I always worry about making sure to let it drop. Well, I just downloaded and installed Audacity. I've heard about it for years, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure that I ever actually used it. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit, and that's a good idea, Lee. I also have the, oh man, I just blanked the name of it, but the same unit that you have for connecting your sound card digital to your computer by a USB, and yeah, I mean, I guess I realized that it was a sound card, and you know, it's just taking the audio coming over the coming through the internet and getting that to your computer. And I don't know why, but it never occurred to me to use it to actually record things from the radio. So that's pretty cool. I think I'll give that a shot. Okay, well, I guess that's it. I'll say 73. Good night, everybody. See you next time. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Let's move on to KD7QKU. Ron.
Okay, this is KD7QKU. Well, we're sort of running out of time here. I'm just going to say 73. It was nice hearing from everybody. I enjoyed all the things that you had to show us and say. So anyway, let's go over to Lee on 7KC.
Okay, 7KC here, Leon, Port Angeles. Very good. I just want to say in passing that because of some of the CW work I'm doing, I've been wanting to get into message handling a little bit, so I ordered the ARRL operating manual yesterday from the Lig, and it's priced at like $24.95. But at the time, I paid for the cheapest shipping and the tax. A $25 manual comes out $37.75. It is terrible. I did it anyway because I really need the info. Okay, 7-3 guys. I enjoy these nets very much. I always look forward to them. So we'll see you guys down the pike. Kid 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles, back to net.
E7QKU. I think that Gene Socrates comes on real early in the morning, you know, like 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock or something, because she sets the alarm clock, I think, and she gets up, you know, and checks that the compass and stuff. I think she lashes the wheel maybe when she goes to sleep. I don't know what she does. She has an automatic pilot, I think, too, but I don't know what she does. But I think she's on, because she talks to Australia and, you know, the Philippines and stuff, so whenever they're up, so it must be in the middle of the night now, because she's on Pacific Standard Time now. All right, 73s. Good night, everybody.
Good night, KD72KU and Lee N7KC for taking part in the net. Let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
Well, thank you all for the pictures. Thank you for participating. Catch you on Saturday. Good night, all, N7QO.
Thank you, N7QO. We got your 7-3. Let's go on to James, WU7N.
Oh, 73s all. Well, good evening. This is WU7N.
WU7N, and one final call. Is there anything for anyone before we terminate the net? Hearing none, we'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine for allowing the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net to utilize the 08 machine for our voice channel for our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So signing off, this is Dave, KD7QYM, on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Good evening all at 2100.
N7KC disconnected. disconnected.